So you are fluent in English, but you have no idea how to break your English learning plateau. This is a problem that everybody faces, and it's such a huge challenge because you keep improving your level, you feel like you are getting better, you're developing your vocabulary, your pronunciation's getting pretty good. You could say that you are fluent, but you're like, okay, but I still get stuck in conversations. Okay, I still feel like I'm stuck in my head when I'm speaking with people in English. I still feel like I can't interact in a way that where I feel calm, where I feel relaxed, where I feel like I can communicate just as seamlessly as I can in my first language. So you're stuck. Yeah, you feel like you don't know how to improve. You don't know what the next step is you need to take. So the difference or the reason why you've hit this plateau is because you're doing the same thing all the time. You haven't changed anything in your learning approach probably over the last 5 years, especially over the last couple years. And if you don't change anything, how can you expect to really make new progress? How can you expect to break plateaus? So the recommendation that I have for you and what I'm going to talk about in this video is how you can really break this plateau. And it's the difference between English language learning and English communication learning. Okay, so there is a big difference between these two things, and I'm going to explain the difference to you, and I'm going to give you 3 different ways of how you can break the language learning plateau. So the first thing is you need to change how you practice. Okay, so you might now be shadowing, you might be listening to videos, you might be watching some English shows, maybe you're even living in an English speaking country, whether you're in America or Australia, and you actually get a lot of language exposure, especially for your work, but you still feel like there's a limitation there. You still feel like there's something that you just get stuck. It's not necessarily about the vocabulary that you know. Although there's normally a big difference between your active and your passive vocabulary level. Normally your passive vocabulary level is super high. You know a lot, and that's why you're fluent, but your active vocabulary level is probably around here. There's a huge gap. And what we do at Valo is we try to close that gap, because when you are able to use expressions, when you're able to just vocalize something in a very natural way, when you're able to increase your speed and your tempo and your rhythm and your tone, this really helps you to fill that gap between your passive vocabulary level and your active vocabulary level. So for a native speaker, their active vocabulary level is just as high as their passive. They can use all of their language resources or all of their the vocabulary that they have in their mind. They're able to use it. The way that you close that gap is to do language internalization exercises. These are exercises that work on you actively using new vocabulary, using social situations, and using different